What's up, guys? It is the Wolf. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's get into it, shall we? All right. So, a number of people have reached out to me about the W4T employment tax elimination form or adjustment form. So, let me understand, or let me help you guys understand. So, the W4T, and there's other files like this out here. As a matter of fact, um, one of my friends, associates, colleagues, if you will, Sherry Peel Jackson, made mention of another specific form that was sent to me um, about how to opt out of paying employment taxes, right? So upon reviewing the form, I know what company, what website, and people put it together. But see, that's the thing. The W4T and other files like that, okay, are deep fakes. Okay. But before you change the channel, hold on. A deep fake in this area is a weird thing, and I'll explain why. As long as the company and the people, or even you, hell, you can tell ChatGPT to draft you a tax exemption form for your work. We can do it. Matter of fact, we'll take a look at that a little bit later. See what it comes up with. However, it's understanding that as long as you are not using any legitimate OMB numbers, IRS logos, you're insinuating that this is an IRS form, it must clearly be identifiable that it is not. If it has those things and you've taken them from other forms that are legit and put it on your own form, it is fraud. It is fraud. And they will prosecute you. And the IRS should. And it's well within their right because you're using their stuff. Don't use their stuff. I don't know how many times I have to tell people, don't use your stuff. However, if you make your own form instead of using the W8BN or whatever else, and we'll see what ChatGPT can draft us up here in a moment. If you use your own form and you do not use any of those things inappropriately, and it looks close to an IRS form, but it does not specifically say this is an IRS form, here's the OMB number, here's the internal number, here's our logo, blah, blah, blah. But you have all the other facts and things associated, and you down to the signature line, and you can even have a spot to get it notarized. You are within the merit of the law to do so. You are making a self-determination letter or affidavit. The law states anywhere where a company or the government, municipality, or whatever, does not provide you with a service, a form, a remedy, which they all are supposed to, you have the right to create your own. As a matter of fact, it also states you, at any point in time, can make your own form for any process. It doesn't, you don't have to use their form for anything. Now, they don't like it, but by law, they are not supposed to refuse you from making your own form. They can say, well, this is not a normal form. We don't, you have to use one of ours. There's no law that says you have to use their form. Now, there may be certain specific things like with the government or certain key things where you may have to. But generally 95% of the forms out there, you do not have to use them. Hell, there's been people who wrote habeas corpuses on napkins inside of prisons and gotten out. Oh, not sure if I should have said that. Anyway, remember, this is all education purposes only. Anyway, so uh, you can create your own form. There's no law that says you cannot. They just don't like it. So I just wanted to address that. So even though we said that that is a fraudulent form long time ago, it's as long as you are not using their logos and their and you're stating that the document is theirs and that it is true, it is fact. You can't do that. You cannot take an agency's numbers and logos and say this is something real when it's not real. Now, you can say within the form per IRM manual, okay? So if I were to draft one, I would put in there IRM and say 25.1.1.3.3 tax avoidance versus tax evasion. I would have that in my document. Yes. Then you can quote their codes or form numbers, but you cannot make it resemble that the form itself is in fact from the IRS. You cannot do that. So let's take a look and see, out of curiosity, I'm going to do it with you guys somewhat live. Um, Chat doesn't always get it right. It's still learning. It occasionally acts funny, and I don't know if its memory gets wiped. I think that's, why you have to get the paid version, but whatever. Let's see here. Share. Okay. So I'm going to tell it create a form to give to my employer using all U.S. codes and IRM and IRS codes to inform my employer of my right to not pay taxes by utilizing tax avoidance within the law to eliminate uh, payroll federal tax. Make the form look official with a signature line, etc. IRS base. Okay, so this is more of an affidavit. Okay. I want you to redo this into the form of an IRS form and include IRM code 25.1.1.3.3 and a standard within the U.S. signature line. Okay, so you can see here that this is a little bit better, but it's still not giving me like a true IRS form document, but it's better. It may have a block on it because I only have the free version or whatever else, but you get the gist of it. And if you really wanted to sit down, you can put it in, in the make it look more IRS-y, if that's a word. But you don't even need to. Your employer should accept that. Now, what you also could do in there is I could jump back and I could state in there at the bottom, please include to the chat. I could say, please include a waiver of liability for my for this company, for the company. Put a section for the company where I'm waiving liability in this matter, and that way it'll make the company feel a little bit better. Do you have to do that? No, but some companies, I've had to have people create a waiver and affidavit of that. So that's basically it, guys. Not a terribly long video. But when it comes to any forms, this is one of the reasons why people were like, long time ago when I had a video up on the W4T, people were like, I can't find it, I can't find it. And then I researched and found out that it was in fact a deep fake. So in this matter, a deep fake is okay as long as you're not on the letterhead or the head of the letter, in the header, you are not saying this is an IRS with their logo, OMB number, et cetera, penalty of blah, blah, blah. Exactly the same way in IRS. You can do it similar, but you cannot use their logos to fool your employer. That is fraud. You can write it on a napkin and hand it to them, and by law, they're supposed to take it. So if you draft your own, there's nothing illegal about it. You're practicing tax avoidance and you're doing it one of the correct ways. Your employer generally gets uncomfortable because their HR department usually doesn't see these. They don't deal, even though everybody there technically is a national, they're not used to people proclaiming themselves to be a national, only U.S. citizens. So nowhere in there do they know about that. And their HR would have to contact the IRS. So operate as a non-belligerent, non-combatant. Be easy. Do not give these people a hard time. They do not know. You sound like you're speaking Greek to them. Yeah, supos pai. Most of you guys don't even know what I just said. That was Greek. All right. So that's what you sound like to them. So give them a chance to understand and learn, try to work with them. But if they decide to do unpalatable things, then you must then return it in kind with a lawsuit. Otherwise, in general, keep in mind that you guys have the rights, freedoms, and liberties, but you need to learn how to execute them the proper way. So creating your own form is fine. Using somebody else's created form, also fine. What's not fine is if that form or your form uses their stuff and it is not official. That is fraud, and I'm sure a number of other things that I can't think of right now, and they'll come after you, including impersonating an agency and whatever else. All bad things. So don't. All right. There. Now you guys know the truth. Have a good day. Take care of yourselves. Talk to you guys later. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe bell and like. Welcome to the tribe. Here, your freedoms, liberties, and rights will not be denied. Talk to you guys later. Wolf's out.